Let's do week 9 on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast as the NFL season continues. We are pretty much at the halfway marker for the NFL season, and we're in differing form, Tom. It's up and down, but we're going to have a good week this week. I can feel it.
Yeah, well, the middle part of the season's been a bit strange, hasn't it? One week I was terrible, and then last week I was pretty good, and one week you were terrible, and the other week you were pretty good. So, yeah, we're in and out, but hopefully we get some consistency back. That is kind of how we've made our name in this sphere, being consistent with at least 3 to 4 winners per week each. And, yeah, the record needs work, but hopefully by the time people are watching this, we'd have already had a Thursday Night Football winner each.
Exactly. We've got 2 selections on our Thursday Night Football video. That is on our channel right now, along with a Breeders' Cup Classic video, which if you are a horse racing fan, go check that out. If you're not a horse racing fan, go check that out because we've got a fantastic 2 days of racing coming up later on in the week, depending on where you are watching this. And also go check out our membership tier as well. We'll have loads of Breeders' Cup content, including lives on the membership tier, and of course our Monday Night Football preview. And speaking of members, Tom, do you remember like 2 weeks ago, we said that as a reward for being part of the members tier, if both of our Play of the Day lands, you'll get the winnings of a £10 bet on...
I do remember that.
Did our Play of the Days win last week?
They did indeed.
They did. So, here's there you go. I don't want to give away names or anything. There's the list of all the members that are entered into the draw. It's, I think, off the top of my head, about £36 that you'll win. So it's done okay.
What a bonus this is, by the way. It costs like £5 or £6, whatever it is, to sign up per month to the membership tier. And if our Plays of the Day win, and as you can see by the records here, Luke especially, but mine as well, they win quite often. If both win in a week, you get your share of whatever the return is. I mean, £5 or £6 a month, and this person's going to make £36. What a touch. And they get the Monday Night Football lives.
Yeah, should I, I was thinking about doing a fancy draw for this, but I completely ran out of time and completely forgot we were doing it. So I'm going to do it like this.
Pick a number.
I've got even more high tech. I'm going to do it like this. Okay.
Did that work?
It's hard because this person doesn't have a name. It's a username. JHar45. Can you think of a name beginning with J?
Let's go Jamie.
Jamie, congratulations, Jamie. Jamie Har did a great job. We'll be in touch on that to get your banking detail and whatnot. But about £36-ish is coming your way. We'll finalise the bet. But Jamie Har, well done. Could be Jamie O'Hara.
It could be. It could also be Jack Harrison or Jason Harwell.
We could go on for a long time with this, honestly. But let's move on to What on Earth instead, because it's been a turbulent time, we'll say, in the NFL in recent weeks. There's been a few things going on. I'm actually going to go first on this one, Tom, because I've got a team that I like them, but I don't like them.
Who's that?
Because what on earth, the Atlanta Falcons? Like, what are you? Who are you? Like, what are you, contenders? Are you the worst team in the NFL? Very hard to understand. You go out 2 weeks ago and you managed to absolutely whoop the Buffalo Bills. And then in weeks sort of in and around that, you've looked like one of the worst teams in football. Granted, Kirk Cousins played last week. Still, you couldn't move the ball in any way whatsoever, and you were absolutely pumped. Sort things out. You're a very talented team. Your defense is actually good. So Atlanta Falcons, you're on trial. What on earth?
I like it. I mean, I don't know what happened last week. That result was incredibly unpredictable. They were huge favourites to beat Miami, and then suddenly Miami rocked up and Atlanta did nothing, even on the ground. And Miami's one of the worst run Ds in the league. So, yeah, it was a crazy, weird performance. But if they get back to what they showed against the Buffalo Bills a few weeks back, then they are contenders. So, yeah, I hear that. I hear that. What on earth?
I have no idea what your what on earth is for this week. So, yeah, I'll let you take the floor.
What on earth? Jerry Jeudy. Now, actually, this should be what on earth Tom Collins for picking Jerry Jeudy overs twice in a row. Last week, he had 0 catches on 3 targets. Now, this guy wasn't even running the routes properly. He was jogging out there. No wonder Dylan Gabriel didn't want to throw to him. The last year, he had 1,200 receiving yards. This guy was wide receiver 1 in Cleveland. He was one of the best receivers in the league. This year, complete no-show. What on earth, Jerry Jeudy? And also, subplot, what on earth, Dylan Gabriel? Like, he's only throwing to rookie players here. Harold Fannin, that's it. Dylan Sampson out the backfield, got like 5 targets. It seems to be like Dylan Gabriel just hates any veteran on this team, Jerry Jeudy being one.
Do you want to know the good thing about the Cleveland Browns this week, though?
Oh, I mean, there are very limited good things about the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, they're on their bye. We'd have to watch them try and play football. They are a terrible, terrible franchise for many reasons. But yeah, we don't have to watch Dylan Gabriel try and be a quarterback this week. So that is at least a help. And it means that there will be no part of our selections that feature any Cleveland Browns, which is fantastic. Just before we get into our picks and start off the preview properly, make sure to subscribe down below if you aren't already. Leave a like, leave a comment, put the ring notification on so you get told whenever we put our videos up. And also join the membership tier as well. As you can see, it's a small fee to join it, but you can win money every week courtesy of the draw. And I think we're going to get 2 Player of the Day wins once again this week. So,
on that point, we need to have our victory sips.
Yeah, we've forgotten victory sips the last 2 weeks now.
We have.
Like you legitimately forgot yours, and I just forgot to bring a drink last week when I was on holiday. So I had an imaginary one. So this is the first victory sip in a few weeks.
I can't even remember what my player of the day was last week. I'm gonna have to quickly.
Jordan Love.
Oh yeah, Jordan Love. This is to you, Jordan Love.
Yeah, and my player of the day was the only winner I had all week in Tez Johnson.
To be fair, you did very well to pick that selection out of your 5 that didn't do great.
Yeah, now we're 7-1, I think it is, for the player of the day. So we'll look to enhance that this week as we move into the first selection of the week, and that is Tyler Warren, who is a phenomenal rookie tight end. Look, a few years ago, rookie tight ends were something that you avoided like the plague. You couldn't possibly go near them whatsoever. You needed to give them time to mature. All changed. Brock Bowers came in. Even Kyle Pitts, to be fair, a few seasons ago, he was very good as a rookie. And Tyler Warren has just taken over from that spot. Now, he is the standout sort of rookie tight end. I know Harold Fanning is kind of doing good things over in Cleveland, but Colston Loveland's been terrible. Watch out for him this week. But Tyler Warren's line is 56 and a half, I should say. I like the overs on that, 10 to 11. Pittsburgh struggle against tight ends in a big way. And it's not just recently or only recently. It's been the whole season. Tucker Kraft last week, 7 catches for 143 and 2 touchdowns. 2 weeks ago, on our membership tier, I played Noah Fant on the overs. He hit the overs, 4 catches for 44 and a touchdown. Let's go 4 weeks ago. Hunter Henry, 8 catches, 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he wasn't the only tight end to eat in that game. Austin Hooper for the New England Patriots got 2 catches for 28. And 3 weeks ago, I left it out just because it's more of a moderate stat, if anything, but TJ Hockenson was like 4 catches for about 48. He didn't have a bad game at all, and there were plenty of catches late on in the game for Hockenson. Tyler Warren continues to be used in the passing game. It's been blowouts the last 2 weeks. The Colts are oddly a fantastic football team, one of the best in the NFL. He's had 5 targets the last 2 weeks. They've both been in blowouts, and Pittsburgh, they should be able to keep up better than the Chargers and the Titans, wasn't it, they played last week. I just think Tyler Warren has a big game here. I think over 56.5 is something that he can achieve. And I think he could do it early because he always seems to be written into the opening script of games. So, Tom, give me Tyler Warren over 56.5 yards to start things off.
Oh, I love it. You know, you've got me excited for this weekend. And we do our work separately, and then we just put our selections into this group chat we have 10 minutes or so before we record. We didn't know each other. We're going to like Tyler Warren this week. We know we like him generally. By the way, you forgot about Oronde Gadsden when it comes to the best rookie tight ends this year. But yes, Tyler Warren is definitely the most talented of them at this stage. You've just warmed me up there with the receiving yards. Do you know what will just light this podcast up right now? It's going to be a joint play early doors. Give us the theme tune.
It's time to joint play.
Right, here we go. Tyler Warren.
Do you know the worst thing about that?
What?
My family are sat there. And like on podcast purposes, it sounds all right. People can get into it. I might be single by the end of this podcast.
Well, hey, look, if Tyler Warren lands this joint play, it might be worth it. We're going back in with Tyler Warren. We're not taking the receiving yards as the joint play, albeit Luke is betting that alone. We are going to take, however, Tyler Warren anytime touchdown at 29-20. Big price, roughly 6-4 in more common parlance. I love the anytime touchdown here. Now, Luke's already given you plenty of stats as to why Warren is likely to have a big game in the receiving yard side of things. I'm going to talk more about why he's going to score in the end zone. Firstly, he's got 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Secondly, he is a major part of this offense, despite the fact that Daniel Jones has so many weapons at receiver. He has Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, loads of weapons. But Tyler Warren is always the safety blanket, and he's not just a guy for short yardage receptions. He's a guy that can go down the field in the seam as well. Thirdly, he has 9 red zone targets this season. That ranks 4th among tight ends in the league. The only players above him, I believe, are Trey McBride and a couple of others that I literally can't remember. Trucker Craft being one, can't remember the other one. And finally, and this is the most important thing in my opinion, the Steelers are terrible. Firstly, at pass D, they rank 32nd out of 32 teams in the league, but terrible at defending tight ends in the red zone. They've given up 6 touchdowns to tight ends so far this year. That ranks highly among teams, just one off the worst team, which is 7 this season. I feel like this is just the perfect opportunity for Tyler Warren to get a touchdown, another touchdown in what has been a glittering rookie season. So give me the anytime touchdown, 29-20, big price, and hopefully a winning joint play.
Yeah, I like Tyler Warren. I think he has an absolute smash week this week. He's 3 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. Obviously, last week, he was fine. I mean, if you had him in fantasy football, you were okay. He was tight end 12 in PPR. But the one thing about Tyler Warren, he hasn't been used as much in the running game in the last few weeks. But to start the year off, they were trying to use him in the running game. He had a carry in both weeks 1 and week 2. He had 2 carries in week 4. One of them he got into the end zone with. And they're using Tyler Warren in imaginative ways. So look, around the goal line, inside the 5, inside the 10, watch out for Tyler Warren. I think he's going to have a massive, massive week. I'll take him over 56.5 receiving yards. And the joint play is Tyler Warren anytime touchdown at 29-20, which I think is a fantastic price. But I quite like targeting the tight end position, Tom. I think this is something that we could do this week. I know it's not tight end week. What was it last week?
National Tight End Week, yeah. I think it was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, last week. It was National Tight End Day last week. Yeah. So maybe we've got a bit of a hangover from it. Not everybody turned up. But a guy that I don't love putting up as a selection is Kyle Pitts. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, I said at the top of the show, what are you? Go and prove yourself to be a contender. There are weeks this season that you've genuinely looked a Super Bowl contender. You absolutely whooped the Buffalo Bills. You didn't even look close. I think Kyle Pitts can be a big part of the offense this week. 43.5 is the line for his receiving yards. I'm going to take the overs on that at 10-11. The Patriots are another team that have been poor against tight ends. Not the whole of this season, but recently they've struggled. Atlanta struggled to move the ball last week, but Michael Penix should be back, and also Drake London should be back as well. Look, Kirk Cousins came in and he just didn't look any better than he looked 12 months ago, and hence why he's now back up and Penix has taken over. But if they're both returning, that's a big thing for Kyle Pitts. Against New England last week, Harold Fannin had 6 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown. David Njoku, 4 catches for 37 and also a touchdown. Gunnar Helm 2 weeks ago, who's kind of an unknown tight end in Tennessee, 4 catches for 36 against the New England Patriots. The Patriots should win this game. If at the very least, they'll be competitive throughout the entirety of the game. So they should have to keep on passing the Atlanta Falcons. I think Kyle Pitts will get plenty of targets. I wouldn't be as hot on him getting a touchdown. If he does, then whatever, so be it. But there are other places that the Falcons look in the red zone, the likes of Drake London, generally Bijan Robinson as well. But over 43.5, I think he can absolutely smash that. I'd be looking more towards a 60-yard marker regards to Kyle Pitts. And I'm hoping we can start off, Tom, with 2 flying tight ends.
Yeah, I've got to say I love Warren more than Pitts, but look, Pitts is a very in and out tight end, isn't he? Sometimes he has incredible games where he'll go for 100 plus, and sometimes he has 2 catches for 8 yards. He's tricky to read. If you like him in this spot, there's a good chance he can hit the overs. And actually, just as a subplot, and this isn't a selection for you, obviously, but like if he's to have a good game, the likelihood is he's going to put up really good numbers. You could take a nice price about him getting 50 plus yards, for example, as well as just taking the 10-11 on the standard over. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's only 7 yards off of it. Like I say, it's not a selection of my own, but if you wanted to get imaginative, like I say, I think he hits 60 yards in this. I think he'll be targeted a fair few times and he'll be needed as well. And let's not forget, he is an athletic tight end. He's more of a wide receiver sort of tight end than he is an actual tight end. But yeah, I think he has a big week. If the 43.5 is there, just go take that, or you can try and get a little bit more for your money. Speaking of getting more for your money, Christian McCaffrey has been a guy that in the history of his existence in the NFL has been brilliant. However, This year for the Niners, he's been the whole offense.
Yeah, literally the whole offense, which has been a good thing if you own him in Fantasy League, apart from last week where he was awful. I mean, the whole Niners team was terrible. They lost 25-16, I think it was, to the Houston Texans. They could barely move the ball. They had virtually 0 yards on offense in the first half, and they made a little bit of a late rally, but not enough to get close to Houston. Houston's defense is solid, but even then, I just think San Fran didn't cope with the game plan that day, going on the road, etc. This week they play the Giants. The Giants are a useful team despite their record. However, they are now without Cam Scatterboo, and that loss, not only the fact that he was getting basically 4 yards per carry and he was scoring all their touchdowns, but his presence in the locker room will probably have a huge impact on this offense. They do have Tyrone Tracy to come in, but Jackson Dart's now going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders. So for all that the Giants have been good so far, I'm not 100% sure they're going to be great this weekend. I think San Fran bounce back, and I think they win, despite the fact that Ricky Pearsall's not going to play again. George Kittle is back, which is a positive. Obviously, still no Brandon Ayuk. I do think Christian McCaffrey is going to play a leading role in this matchup, and he is coming in off the back of one of his worst ever NFL games. CMC doesn't have 2 terrible games in a row. So give me Christian McCaffrey over 67.5 rushing yards at 10-11 for the Niners against the Giants. There are 2 things that people will say to me now, or at least are thinking at home. Firstly, are the 49ers actually the real deal? Because they were so underwhelming last week that I don't really know if I want to take the player prop. You don't like them. I don't think they're going to be great in the remainder of this year, but I do think they can definitely compete with a team like the Giants. And most importantly, people will say, well, CMC has been incredible as a receiving back this year and not great in getting rushing yards. And I completely hear that. I buy into that. And maybe you want to play the receiving yards as well or instead. But the Giants give up 148.9 rushing yards per game. CMC is going to break one. And if he breaks one, we only need 68 yards to clear the over. If he gets a 30-yard carry, considering he's likely to get 20 touches on the ground, surely he covers here. So I'm taking the rushing yards for Christian McCaffrey over 67.5.
I hope he gets -10. Not for your bet. Not for your bet. I just don't like San Francisco.
You're just a hater towards me and CMC.
You're on the same level. But no. Hopefully Christian McCaffrey gets the bare minimum to get over his line, and that's it, because it'd be hilarious if they lost to the Giants. But that's Christian McCaffrey. Let's move on to another star of their team, but a guy's got more of a checkered past in Rashee Rice, who he's been just a massive part of this Kansas City Chiefs offense since he came back. He's been used in every single department. He rushed the ball a couple of times last week. He actually got into the end zone with one of them, and then it was called back, and then Kareem Hunt went and vultured the touchdown instead. But Rashee Rice over 6.5 receptions, I think is quite a safe play, honestly. He's getting targets left, right, and center. He's instantly been the focal point. It's as if the Chiefs were waiting for him to come back to just go, well, you're Rashee Rice. You're our number one. Let's give you absolutely everything. And that's exactly what's happened. He had 10 targets on his return week, which we managed to cash a bet on. And he had 9 targets last week, which he turned into 7 catches and 9 catches. The thing about Rashee Rice as well, regards to receptions bets, he's not the downfield guy. He's not Xavier Worthy that his target's going to have, 30 air yards on them. They're going to be small little dink and dunk things around the line of scrimmage. They might be 5 yards. It literally doesn't matter whatsoever regards to Rashee Rice. Regards to this bet, I do think Rashee Rice is going to have a strong chance of going well over the 6.5 receptions line. The Buffalo defense is okay. It's nothing outstanding. They allow the wide receiver one on every single team to really have their way with them. Tetairoa McMillan last week, in a week where the Panthers could do absolutely zero on offense. McMillan still has 7 catches for 99 yards. Drake London the week before that, 10 catches for 158 yards. And Stephon Diggs turned up when they played the Patriots, 10 catches for 146. Again, the yardage is kind of irrelevant for this bet, or is irrelevant for this bet. But those amounts of catches that they've been taking in, that's more than enough for me with Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice has a big week and hopefully can continue his ascent, I'd say, up the wide receiver ranks. But he's been doing well since he came back anyway. So give me Rashee Rice for this week, Tom.
I don't mind that at all. And you know what? I hope he actually does cover, because I want Kansas to put points on the board. Gary Slater in the comments is going, what? He's saying something nice about Kansas City. Yeah, I want them to put points on the board so that my player prop, which is on the Bills side of things, definitely lands. I think this is a great game, by the way. The Chiefs are actually 2-point favorites in this matchup, but I quite like the Bills to beat them. I know the Bills are coming in off the back of 2 losses from their last 3 games, but the bye week came at the right time for them. And last week they landed us a good play when I bet them on the spread, and they absolutely blew out their opposition. They scored 40 points early in the game. So I think Buffalo is a team that's not to be messed with, and maybe Kansas need to perk up their ideas. For all that they've been playing well the last couple of weeks, this is going to be a stiffer test for them. My player prop in the game, as I say, comes on the Buffalo side of things, and it's Josh Allen over 35.5 rushing yards at 10-11. Allen puts his team on his back. He carries this unit when they need to win games, and they will want to beat the Chiefs because of their history in the playoffs in the AFC side of things. Also, the fact that this game could have a defining factor in the pecking order, in the seeding when it comes to the playoffs this year. The Bills need to win, especially because they've had a number of losses already. They're playing at home. Josh Allen is going to take this game and he's going to play lights out. It's what he does. He always rocks up and produces his best when he has to. Now, he's going to use Khalil Shakir a lot because that's what usually happens. That is the game plan when they play the Chiefs. If you go back through the head-to-heads, Shakir gets 7, 8, 9 catches and they just move the ball down the field incrementally. I think Keon Coleman won't be used as much for all that I have him in fantasy leagues, and I hope he is. James Cook will get his carries, but the KC defense will do their best to stop James Cook because last week he was incredible, 215 or so yards with 2 TDs. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for play action and a lot of opportunity for Josh Allen to run the ball. In 4 games that Josh Allen has played the Kansas City Chiefs, he has 88 yards rushing, 68 yards rushing, 72 yards rushing, and 39 yards rushing. Now, that 39-yard game was a playoff game last year. So every single time he's covered the line that we're taking this week, he's going to be running the ball a lot, I think. Maybe 8 to 12 carries, I imagine, in this game. And every game this season, bar one, he has run the ball for at least 15 yards on a carry. So he has broken one for good yardage. I think he covers this line, and I'm pretty confident with this selection. And I'm going to go straight back with my 4th pick and my final pick this week, Luke. And it's going to come in the Raiders and Jags game. And it's also a guy that's going to put the whole team and the whole offense on his shoulders. And it's Brock Bowers. I'm taking Brock Bowers over 49.5 receiving yards at 10-11. The Raiders and the Jags both need a lift. They were both absolutely shocking in their most recent game. The Raiders lost 31-0 against the Chiefs, and the Jags came over to London, and they were abysmal against the Rams. Both of these teams need a perk. Now, the perk for the Raiders is that Bowers is back because he's been away injured for the last handful of weeks. I was tempted to actually put up Jacoby Myers in here for the Raiders, but there was a chance that he might get traded next week. He's handed in another transfer request, if you will, and therefore he might not be used that much. Brock Bowers will be. I think he gets at least 6 to 8 catches in this game. The tight end factor against the Jags is a major reason for putting him up here. The Jags just do terrible against leading pass catchers of the opposing team, if that's wide receiver or tight end. And I think this line is too low. So back-to-back selections here. Josh Allen over 35.5 rushing yards and Brock Bowers over 49.5 receiving yards.
I don't mind both of those. I mean, Brock Bowers needs to, I'm not going to say step up because that's harsh on him because he's not been there, but the Raiders need Brock Bowers to be Brock Bowers because the Raiders have got nothing at the moment. It's a sad game to look forward to, but maybe there could be points in that. It was one that I did look at myself, but I don't know. I just didn't want to entertain the sadness.
One last point on that matchup. I was actually keen to look at Travis Hunter as well in terms of receptions, but there was no bookmaker that had Travis Hunter priced up in any of the markets at the time of recording this at 2 p.m. on Thursday. So if you're looking for something on the Jags side of the ball, I would say Travis Hunter receptions would be the way I'd go. But I do think Brock Bowers has a huge game.
Yeah, I think there are places that you can attack in that game. One more selection on the week, and that comes in Sunday Night Football. Do you know, Tom, in terms of rushing yards allowed, who the strongest defense is in the NFL?
I love how you always ask me this question. Every single video, there's like a little question that leads into your pick, but it's very obvious what the answer is. Is it Seattle?
It is. And do you know who's second?
I don't actually know that one, no.
You should know it's Green Bay. But Seattle have allowed 530 rushing yards this season. Green Bay have allowed 552. The others over 600. And it's not as if Seattle haven't been ran on a great deal. 161 rushing attempts against them, allowing 530. There are teams that have had a ton more. I mean, look, the Bengals have been down quite big in a lot of games. They've had 243. I think they're the second most, with the Saints being targeted on the ground the most. But the Seahawks defense has been fantastic. And the secondary hasn't been 100% healthy. Now, unfortunately, in the bye week, somehow Julian Love aggravated his hamstring once again, and he might be a candidate for going on IR. But the Seattle defense is just very, very solid. And as much as it pains me to say this, Tom, I don't think Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is a very good running back.
Hey, look, I actually disagree with you a little bit. I think he's still just working his way in the NFL, but we'll see.
I don't think Bill's very good. But I did trade him in a dynasty league for, I think, 2 seconds and a first, which I'm delighted about because he's been absolutely awful since. And he's been awful against some really bad run defenses. Chicago are terrible, 17 carries for 61. That's fine. That's passable. Against Dallas, the worst run defense in the NFL, and probably worst defense full stop. 13 carries for 33 yards. And then against Kansas City last week, he was just completely irrelevant. 9 carries for 25 yards. I'm going to take Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt under 45 and a half rushing yards. That's at 10 to 11. I don't see Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt having a big night whatsoever. I think Seattle will stop him. I think Seattle will be up in the game. I know Jaden Daniels is returning, but everything Seattle do on offense at the moment largely goes through Jackson Smith-Njigba. He, by the way, is 181 yards, I think it is, from passing 1,000 yards, and he leads the NFL in that. I think Seattle will go up. I think that the Commanders will be chasing their tail. They didn't look fantastic against the Chiefs last week, and honestly, it wouldn't shock me if, for the moment, they started to just move away from Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt just a little bit. Chris Rodriguez has been completely written out of things. Jeremy McNichols, he looked fantastic in the passing game last week, and he had some spark. So maybe Bill doesn't get as many touches, but even if he does, I think he'll get stopped, and I think he'll hit the under on 45 and a half. So for the first time this season, Tom, we'll hate on Bill.
Yeah, well, interesting. You're going to be sweating this one out late in the day, but I suppose it's a win-win for you. Well, unless it loses, obviously. But it's a win-win because you obviously want Seattle to win. Being a Seattle fan, you're waiting up for that game anyway. So if Seattle win and Bill goes under, I mean, what a day for you. I will say, though, and we don't regularly disagree, actually. We kind of agree with most of each other's selections. I'm not sure about this one. And this is a big controversial moment because this might be your POTD.
That's for me to reveal, not you. It is. That is my player of the day, yeah. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt under 45 and a half rushing yards. That is it's actually 5 to 6. Sorry, I misquoted that. It's 5 to 6. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt under 45 and a half. Not a massive difference, but we still like to be accurate here on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. But that will be my play of the day, which leads us nicely into selections. Just a reminder, if you haven't already, subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment as well, and also think about signing up to our membership tier. Even if you're too late for the Breeders' Cup content, you'll get your Monday Night Football preview. And if both player of the days land, you'll get your bonus as well with the giveaway next week. Tom, 4 selections from yourself. Who are they?
Yeah, just 4 this week, as you say, the fewest I've put up in a number of weeks, but hopefully we go 4-0 here. Right. Tyler Warren, anytime touchdown, 29 to 20. That's part of our joint play. Selection 2, Christian McCaffrey, over 67 and a half rushing yards at 10 to 11 for the 49ers. Selection 3, and my play of the day this week is Brock Bowers, over 49 and a half receiving yards for the Raiders against the terrible Jags. And then finally, I like Josh Allen, over 35 and a half rushing yards against the Chiefs for the Bills at 10 to 11. That was close to being my play of the day, but I don't think I could hack it if I put up a losing play of the day against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that would be Gary Slater in Clover. Let's look at my 5 for the week. Tyler Warren dominates the first 2 selections. Tyler Warren over 56 and a half receiving yards. That's at 10 to 11. That's the first play for me this week. And then we'll go with the joint play as well. Tyler Warren, anytime touchdown, 29 to 20. We're odds against on the second Tyler Warren play. Kyle Pitts remaining with tight ends, over 43 and a half receiving yards. That's at 10 to 11. I think Kyle Pitts could have a pretty big week on an Atlanta team that we don't know who they are. Rashee Rice, over 6.5 receptions. That was close to being my play of the day. That would have been the second pick, regards to play of the day. That's 20-21. I think Rashee Rice continues to dominate and has another big week against the Buffalo Bills. And then the actual play of the day is the sweaty one. That's Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, or Bill, to me and you. Under 45.5 rushing yards. That's at 5-6. That is the play of the day. And I'm hoping that the Seattle Seahawks absolutely stuff him and don't let him go anywhere. That's the plan anyway.
What a list. What a list. Hopefully loads of winners this week. I reckon we're going to go 9-0 this week, Luke.
That's my line.
Hey, I thought I'd mix it up because we've been lacking consistency. Maybe if I did it, we actually will go 9-0.
I was literally just about to say, I don't know about you, Tom, but I think we're going to go 9-0 this week. Pretty sure we are. I'm confident. Go check out our Breeders' Cup content on our channel right now at Thursday Night Football, even if it's been and gone. Go check out how we did in the Thursday Night Football preview. Hopefully, we're 9-0 this week, but Tom Collins, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, guys. Enjoy the Breeders' Cup. What a week.